'cause she's a Jezebel. St. Andrew Jezebel, 'cause she's a Jezebel. St. Andrew Jezebel.
Hey y'all. Thank y'all for pressing play on Season 3, Episode 2 of the St. Andrews Jezebel podcast. First off this week, we've got an interview with salty local Jennifer Creamer, who is a professional tarot card reader here in Bay County. I recently met Jennifer at Psych Night at Tap Room. I had a brief reading with her, and I realized I'm living in the midst of the reading, so I thought it would be fun to invite her on the show. Hope y'all enjoy it. Following the interview, we'll go over a few community events happening in St. Andrews for the month of April. Have you ever thought to yourself, history is repeating itself? Lately, I find that even more when I'm reading the St. Andrews Bay News. We've got an article about a Ford car shortage that was experienced here in St. Andrews in 1917. If you've been enjoying the podcast and would like to show your support, you can make a one-time donation on our coffee page. I'll include it on the show notes below. As you might notice, the podcast is currently 100% listener supported, but if you'd like to sponsor an episode, just send me a DM and we can talk about it. For a more enhanced experience, follow the podcast on Facebook and Instagram. The podcast is now available to stream directly from Facebook, so if you want to share your support, share this episode with all your salty friends. All right, y'all stay tuned for my interview with Jennifer Creamer. I think y'all are going to love it. Sit back, relax, grab your favorite beer, and enjoy the show. So, Jennifer, I met you at a Psych Night at Tap Room one night and had a short tarot card reading. For our listeners who are unfamiliar, what is the art of tarot card reading and how did it originate?
Okay, so tarot is a form of divination or oracle, meaning that it kind of helps you see into the energies around the situation or just what's going on in your life. It's a pack of cards that has a series of pictures in them made up of a series of symbols that correlate to different areas of your life. Like cups will correlate to your emotions, your dreams, subconscious. Swords, you'll see, correlate to intelligence, ability to discern, like speaking your truth. Pentacles will correlate to all your earthly stuff like money, house, home, health, that sort of thing. And the wands or the sticks is very fiery energy. So that's your passions, desires in life, your energy. So all of those, as we lay out the cards, will kind of play together and it gives the reader an idea of what's going on in the querent's life. It is a wonderful tool for having self-reflection and internal compass. You can use it for fortune telling, but I prefer to use it for the deeper inner work.
How did you start your journey in this ancient tradition?
I was self-taught. I was drawn to tarot like as a kid. I remember I was probably about 8 in a bookstore when I bought my first deck of cards. They say that you're supposed to be given your first deck, but I didn't know that then. And I bought my own and I had kept it for a couple of years, not knowing what the heck it was, but would still get it out and play with it from time to time until my mom found it, threw it away. But then whenever I got older and kind of went through that great awakening, that more sense of autonomy in my life, tarot came back to me in a way and has really just been a very special part of my life. And that's why I do the readings, because I want to share that with everyone.
How interesting that it made its way back to you. I believe that anything that is meant to stay will eventually come back. So how wonderful that it came back to you. What do you believe is the most important thing that you've learned in your practice?
To have faith in yourself. Even the smaller readings would take me so long because I'd second guess myself and I'd have to look things up in 6 different books to get like that sort of validation to realize that I was often right on the first try. And tarot, probably the biggest thing it's taught me is to trust myself. There's been situations in life, and I'm sure we've all come across it, where maybe the people around us aren't exactly being honest, but you can't lie to the cards. You know what I mean? Like, people can say what they want to say, but the cards, it's all on the table. It's been very beneficial in that way. to trust my gut instinct.
When I met you at Psych Night, which I'm really glad I did, that was a cool night. I had played at Little Village and we had ended early because it was just kind of an odd night. So I decided to go down to the tap room just to see what was happening. And to my delight, I realized it was Psych Night in town, which I've been wanting to go to for so long. And I met you and we sat down and we had a short reading. How would you describe a short basic reading in comparison with a longer, more in-depth reading?
I just want to say that was such a fun night. Psych Night is an amazing event to be a part of. The shorter readings are for more direct questions. They usually only cost a couple of dollars, like $5 to $10, maybe like 3 to 5 cards. And that's going to answer questions about like past, present, future, situation, action, outcome. And you'll see that typically in a lot like how I was at Psych Night or when people just set up at coffee shops or whatever. The longer readings are for the more in-depth, but I like the short ones for people that have never had a reading before. You can get a lot of information out of just 3 cards.
Absolutely. And I feel that I'm in the midst of the reading that we did back then. Mm-hmm. And I would say it's been beneficial to me in that there's been an awareness now. I think back on that reading and I think about the things that have been happening in my life. How would you say that readings are beneficial from your side of the table?
Well, they definitely help people make decisions or also confirm decisions that they've, have already been sitting on and thinking about, but maybe are just not quite sure. Sometimes we get influences from other people who think they're trying to help, but it might actually derail us, where tarot kind of helps keep us on the path. I've helped people get married, get divorced. I've helped people change career paths and buy property with tarot. Yeah, even just a few.
I was just thinking, I wonder how it would be to explore songwriting through tarot cards. That might be interesting.
I think you could do really well with that because I have seen like people writing short stories using the tarot. And I like that idea a lot because when I look at tarot, I actually kind of look at it almost as a comic book. So each card has its own individual story, but it'll play off the next card, just like when you're looking at the frames in a comic book. Each one of those frames, or a comic strip even, each one of those frames is its own story, but you thread them together and you get an even longer story. So with that perspective, I think you really could come up with some amazing songs.
I think so too. I might give that a try. The reading we did, I've only had a couple before. What's the most important thing people need to know before they have their first reading?
Ultimately, that you have free will. Tarot informs you of the energies at play. It sheds light on your circumstance, but it's up to the individual to decide what to do with that information. It basically lets you know if you continue down this path, this is what's going to happen. And so you can know if you want to turn left or turn right, so to speak. But I always tell people it's just like getting advice from a friend. Do with it what you will.
I like that. And so I'm assuming that as a reader, you've received readings yourself from others. Have you ever had a reading where you believed the information wasn't at all relevant to your life and that it wasn't believable?
I think the cards are always right. I think sometimes people might misinterpret the cards. Maybe they're nervous or tired or still kind of new to giving readings to other people. It can be kind of scary sometimes, especially when you're new to going to events and reading the cards. So there have been some where what the reader was saying didn't exactly jive with what my personal definition of the cards were, but I always try to I take a note of it because sometimes we'll catch things that aren't necessarily in the cards themselves. I did a reading for a young man the other day who was getting ready to ask his girlfriend to marry him. And I was able to pick up on the fact that he had been gone for a long time. That was not information that was in the cards. That was just something that I picked up. So sometimes when people say things, it may not correlate with what's going on in the cards, but I do like to at least kind of take note of what's going, what they're saying versus what the card's saying, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. So how has tarot reading changed you, if at all?
Amazingly. It's really given me a lot of my self-confidence back. Like I was saying earlier, it's given me the ability to trust my own gut instincts. When tarot kind of came back to me, like I was saying earlier, it helped me escape narcissistic abuse. I was in a narcissistic relationship, and everything the person was saying was just lies. I was getting gaslit constantly, and I could look down at the cards and was able to it aided me in discerning truth. And then once I was able to get out of that situation, I used tarot. And I'm not advising people to forego therapy or anything like that, but it definitely aided my own mental health journey along with my spiritual journey. It's helped me, like I said, escape from bad relationships. It's helped me level up my life. I actually bought a house, changed careers. I feel like I'm a better mother because I'm more in tune, better business person. I'm making wiser decisions. It's helped me realize that I can attain goals that I had never imagined for myself. It took me from the state of like being a victim and life just happening to me to someone like I really feel like I have more control over my life. I'm the captain of my own ship. So I went from victim to victor, so to speak. And it's allowed me to dream big and carve out a path towards those dreams.
Oh my gosh, that is so inspiring. And since you consider yourself a spiritual person, how would you say that spirituality could possibly change the world?
I believe more people are becoming empathetic to the needs of others and themselves. I believe people are inherently good, but in desperate times make bad decisions. And having an internal compass like tarot can help a person find and follow their own path to authenticity, ultimately leading to their own happiness and prosperity. As the individuals shrug off the indoctrinations of their youth, they are able to make the changes that ultimately benefit all of humankind and all of Earth's creatures. Basically, the more connected we are to ourselves and our personal journey, the more connected we are to the world around us. So on that note, I want to say by saving ourselves, we save the world.
Oh, awesome. And how interesting that tarot cards can possibly be a vehicle for that. Now, again, we met at Psychonite, which that's an amazing event. I am so proud of Corey and everybody who's involved in that. Let's talk about St. Andrews. What do you love about St. Andrews?
Oh, my goodness. Well, I've grown up here, so watching St. Andrews change over the years has been really interesting. And I love that there's such a rich history just down Beck Avenue alone. I love how they still manage to incorporate nature in with that little bit of city instead of mowing everything down. So the beautiful oaks, how it's right by the water. So you'll still see pelicans and fish and different things like that. It's a great, visually stunning, just able to walk up and down the street, and you're always going to meet new people. St. Andrews and really all of Bay County is kind of underwent a facelift, so to speak. And I think it's wonderful, but at the same time, we've still managed to keep it a little salty.
Absolutely. And what do you hope for the future of St. Andrews?
I would like to see more events like the Psych Night, where we just have local musicians, artists coming forward like that. I think it could be a very popular spot for more artists and musicians to come together. There's an art gallery up there. A couple of the bars host these different events and things like that. And I think they're on the right track. I would just like to see more of it.
Me too. Absolutely. So how would you describe Psychonite as a vendor to the public who might be wanting to check that out soon? What's it like?
Well, the Psych Night is in reference to it's like a modern psychedelic rock, a lot of the bands that are out there. But there's such a variety of bands too, bands you'll never know what you're going to get. And you never, you're always going to meet all sorts of different people. But everybody is so chill and friendly and gets to know each other. Like, I never felt excluded or anything like that. Just like going as a patron and then even going as a vendor. Like, the other vendors have been super cool and let me know about other events and things like that. It's just a very welcoming, friendly atmosphere.
Absolutely. I love it. Anything new or exciting coming up? How can folks reach you if they're interested in a reading?
I don't have a website yet. That's something I'm actually working on. That's one of my goals for this year. But I have a TikTok channel and Instagram. The TikTok is at Mystic Tarot and Instagram is Jennifer Creamer 808, and I can send you the links for that. So yeah, so right now, let's see, I'll definitely be at more psych nights. Capstone House, they have mystic fairs where they'll have tons of readers, crystals, incense, candles, Reiki healers, people that read tea leaves, and just all sorts of different stuff. They do that about once a month, and I am always there for those. But right now, I'm available for events as well. So if anybody's hearing this podcast and they're throwing a party or an event, I would love to come and set up and be a reader. I've read for bachelorette parties, girls' nights. I actually did, the Shriners were doing a, where they were raising money event, and I sat out there and read for them as well. So I'm up for anything. Let's go. I'm ready.
I love that. And I believe that's something almost everyone can enjoy. Well, Jennifer, thank you so much for being here on the St. Andrews Jezebel podcast. We love having you and we wish you the best. And until next time, keep St. Andrews salty.
That's right.
One of the best things about St. Andrews is that you can see live music every day. That's right. There is live music being played somewhere in St. Andrews 7 nights a week. Fortunately, my friend Ken Schaefer creates and publishes a weekly schedule for St. Andrews as well as most of Bay County. Ken's spreadsheet schedule is updated often when there's any changes. Ken also shares individual music events and is walking the walk and talking the talk when it comes to supporting live music. Not only does Ken supply the music schedules, but he attends several music performances a week and takes fantastic photos of the musicians. As a working musician myself, I feel blessed to have Ken and his wife Donna as treasured members of our local musical family. Make sure you like and follow Ken's page, Salty Sounds in St. Andrews, and Oh Boy Music on Facebook, so that you'll always know where all the live music will happen. Thank you so much, Ken, for everything you do. Let's go over a few big events happening this month in historic St. Andrews. First off, we've got the Crew of St. Andrews annual Easter egg hunt. That's happening at Oakland Terrace Park, April the 16th at 9 a.m. After that, we've got Earth Day at Oaks by the Bay Park, and that's at 10 a.m. And of course, April is National Poetry Month for all you poets out there. Poem in Your Pocket Day is April the 29th. Make sure y'all follow Floriopolis to find out all details about that event. If you've been trying to buy a car lately, you'll definitely relate to this. Turns out there was also a shortage of Ford cars way back then in St. Andrews. This week's old news segment was found in the St. Andrews Bay News, This Week in History, 1917. Shortage of cars hits Ford agents. E.D. Pitts, manager of Wells Brothers, the Bay County representatives of the Ford Motor Company, stated yesterday that the phenomenal sales record of his agency has received a setback owing to the shortage of freight cars. Mr. Pitts said, "We have at present more than a dozen signed buyer's orders upon which we are unable to make delivery. The Ford people are doing everything possible to get the machines to us, but so far they have been unsuccessful. It is to be regretted that Mr. Pitts and his associated hustlers are so handicapped, for it would be so interesting to see what they could do if they had a fair chance." Thank y'all so much for listening to Season 3, Episode 2 of the St. Andrews Jezebel podcast, and I hope you'll tune in next week for Woods the Band. As always, if you'd like to support the podcast, please visit our Ko-fi page where you can make a one-time donation. Also, make sure you tell all your friends to follow us on Facebook so y'all will receive a notification every time episodes go live on Thursday. Our theme song was written by me and recorded by Dave Schwartz on the campus of Gulf Coast State College. The rest was recorded by me in my music room. See y'all next Thursday. We've got Woods the Band. Till next time, keep St. Andrew salty.